Welcome back, treasure hunters. Today we turn the page into chapter 15 of There's Treasure Inside, a chapter that blends fire, flight, fight, and triumph. At its core, a gleaming gold medal from the 1960 Rome Olympics, but with layers far deeper than metal. We begin with Wilma Rudolph, a name synonymous with perseverance, the fastest woman in the world. Born premature, told she might never walk, and yet she sprinted across the finish line in Rome to take home 3 Olympic gold medals. But the medal in our treasure? It isn't for track and field, it's for women's gymnastics. Why? That's the first riddle. Let's also take a look at something eagle-eyed readers noticed. On page 135, line 13, the word black is capitalized. Black doctor in Clarksville. Is it just a typo, a stylistic choice, or perhaps another breadcrumb? One reader pointed out this could reference the black Olympic ring, part of the 5-circle logo, or maybe something else entirely. Next, we're pulled from the track to the ring. Cassius Clay, later Muhammad Ali, also won gold in Rome 1960, just like Wilma. But unlike her, Ali famously threw his medal into the Ohio River after being denied service at a Louisville diner. A story of gold gained and gold lost. JCB devotes space to both Wilma and Ali in this chapter, even switching into italics mid-page to share Ali's tale. Why? Some think it's more than admiration, it's a connection. Could Clarksville, Louisville, or even the Roebling Suspension Bridge in Cincinnati be part of the hunt? And what about this phrase from page 139? A woman in Hawaii scurried away from Wilma, but they weren't in Hawaii at that point in the story. Another inconsistency, or a deliberate plant. Some community members even track the medal pictured in the book. It's not Wilma's medal, it's for gymnastics, narrowing it down to a few Russian and Czech athletes from the 1960 Games. Why would JCB choose that specific medal for this story? Could this be another example of absence as a clue? Something he's done before? We also dive into the idea of symbolism. Gold medals are round, like the letter O. Wilma crossed finish lines. Ali lost his medal to a river. Rock to field, strong to stream, and of course there's a thread about Lord of the Rings theories. But we'll save that one for the Discord drama. Lastly, the chapter is sprinkled with phrases like economic headwinds, negative bearing, and 75 miles west from a previous Olympic clue. Could this be our first directional compass? So is this chapter about a medal? Or is it about the race itself, overcoming obstacles, running through pain, and staying in the lane long enough to finish? This is chapter 15. Let's get into it. Beneath the surface and the deeper message is one we all need to hear. Don't give upper. The chapter begins with 2 quotes. At first glance, they might seem like basic encouragement, but dig deeper and you'll find they form a powerful thematic bridge. The first, never give up, for that is just the place and time that the tide will turn. Harriet Beecher Stowe. Let's pause here. Who was Harriet Beecher Stowe? Born in 1811, Stowe was more than just an author. She was an abolitionist, a reformer, and a woman of fierce moral conviction. Her most famous work, Uncle Tom's Cabin, 1852, was a literary firestorm that shook the conscience of the nation. It vividly depicted the brutal reality of slavery and galvanized anti-slavery movements, both in the American North and Great Britain. The book sold millions of copies, became a staple on stage and page, and even prompted Abraham Lincoln to refer to her as the little lady who started this great war. She wrote more than 30 books, including novels, travel memoirs, essays, and letters, tackling issues like women's rights, education, and moral courage. She was a member of the deeply religious and intellectual Beecher family, which included preachers, educators, and reformers. So why include her in this chapter? Because her life was the embodiment of not giving up. She challenged an entrenched system. She used words as weapons. She sparked change by telling the truth. And remember, There's Treasure Inside isn't just about hidden boxes. It's about transformation. What happens when ordinary people do extraordinary things despite the odds? Which brings us to the second quote. I ran and ran and ran every day. I would never, never give up. Wilma Rudolph. Wilma wasn't just fast, she was legendary. Born premature at just 4.5 pounds, she contracted polio, wore a brace as a child, and overcame illnesses that could have permanently disabled her. But she didn't stop. At the 1960 Olympics in Rome, she won 3 gold medals, becoming the first American woman to do so in a single Olympics. The juxtaposition is no accident. Stowe fought with a pen, Wilma ran with her feet. But both women broke through barriers of prejudice, pain, and doubt. Now for the treasure hunters, this chapter gives us a direct declaration on page 134. This gold medal from the Rome 1960 Olympic Games is now in our treasure. So we know this item is real, and it's in one of the boxes. But what else can we pull from this? The Olympic rings are mentioned, 5 of them, each one a color: blue, yellow, black, green, red. But on the next page, only one is referenced through typography. Black is capitalized when referring to a doctor. Coincidence or code? Add to that the typos still present on page 139, trails instead of trials. Still unfixed, still flagged by readers, still possibly a clue. Even stranger, the medal shown in this chapter is for women's gymnastics, not track, which was Wilma's sport. So whose medal is in the box? That detail has stumped many in the community. There's also the sudden segue to Muhammad Ali, then Cassius Clay. He too won gold in Rome. He too suffered racial discrimination, and he famously threw his medal into the Ohio River, a symbolic act of protest and loss. Rock to field, strong to stream. One goes from basketball to track. One goes from boxer to river. These aren't just biographies, they're allegories, symbolic transitions pointing toward something bigger. Add in the names, Coach Gray, Dr. Coleman. Look them up. Coleman is not just a person. It's the name of 22 places in the United States and Canada. Could this be a breadcrumb? And what about the mythological overlays? We hear echoes of Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, tied to gray owls. The Olympics began in Athens, home of Athena, and in the Marvel universe, Athena appears again, alongside Hercules, whose labors are mentioned elsewhere in the book. So what are we being told? Don't give up, not just because it's motivational, but because it's instructional. Wilma didn't give up when she couldn't walk. Stowe didn't give up when she was mocked. And you shouldn't give up just because a few clues look like typos. This chapter is showing us that truth is often buried inside trials and triumphs. The reference to Athena, the 1960 Olympics, and even Hercules isn't just literary. It ties directly into Marvel Comics lore, which may serve as a coded bridge between myth, pop culture, and geography. The reference to Athena, the 1960 Olympics, and even Hercules isn't just literary. It ties directly into Marvel Comics lore, which may serve as a coded bridge between myth, pop culture, and geography. Athena in Marvel Comics. Athena appears in Marvel Comics as a goddess, yes, but also as a strategist, a behind-the-scenes planner who manipulates events in favor of balance and wisdom. She is introduced in The Incredible Hercules, guiding the demigod and Amadeus Cho, one of Marvel's smartest characters. She warns of invasion, sees the future, and convenes a pantheon of gods, a literal council of the wise. She guides heroes toward threats only she can see. Sound familiar? Jon Collins-Black may be playing Athena's role, guiding readers and treasure hunters through layers of mythology, symbolism, and wisdom, while never stating the full truth directly. And just as Athena pulls strings across realms, JCB pulls threads across There's Treasure Inside. Connecting historical figures, Wilma Rudolph, Muhammad Ali; mythical gods, Athena, Hercules; modern pop culture, Marvel Comics, Olympic history; symbolic objects, gold medals, rings, owls. So when Athena is mentioned, consider her owl companion. Wisdom, secrets in sight at night. Her estate in Vermont in the comics, could that be a clue? Her relation to Hercules, whose labors are name-checked in the book. In Marvel lore, Athena uses prophecy and games to orchestrate victories, much like how this treasure hunt seems to be layered with puzzles, misdirection, and long-term planning. Olympic symbolism, 5 rings, hidden meanings. The Olympic reference in this chapter is deceptively dense. At surface level, we're told the 5 interconnected rings of the Olympic logo represent the union of the 5 inhabited continents of Earth. This is true, but in the context of this treasure hunt, symbols matter more than facts. So let's look closer. 5 rings, 5 paths. Each ring has a color: blue, yellow, black, green, red. Could they correspond to geographical regions, treasure box locations, chapters in the book? In various puzzle traditions, color coding often acts as a sorting key. Think Rubik's cubes, lock puzzles, and trail maps. Athens to Rome. The Olympics originated in Athens, the home of Athena, and the 1960 Olympics took place in Rome, home of the Roman gods. In the Marvel universe, both pantheons exist: Olympians like Hercules and Athena, and Romans with parallel names. So when Wilma wins her medals in Rome, we may be invited to track a mythological path from Athens, Greece, Rome, Italy, America, modern-day heroes. Could this be mapping treasure movement or pointing to location transitions? Hidden clues in the medal swap. In Chapter 15, we're told that Wilma Rudolph's track medal is now in our treasure, but the image shows a gymnastics medal, not track. Why? Possibilities: misdirection, common in magic and puzzles; symbolism: gymnastics medals symbolize balance, poise, and control, traits also used in myth. Athena, again. Gymnastics is often associated with Greece, the original Olympic Games. The word gymnastica appears on the medal. Could this connect to a specific place, language, or cipher key? Now layer this. Wilma's 3 medals equal 3 circles, 3 O's Olympic rings equal 5 interlocked O's. Coincidence that JCB mentions them right before talking about maps, rings, and absences? Many believe absence is JCB's biggest clue tactic. Thoreau's missing passage, Alley's missing medal, missing names, misidentified medals, missing letters. So if medals equal O's and rings, charmed paths or search zones, and Marvel's Athena equals guide, then Chapter 15 might be teaching us how to look, not where to look. 3 gold medals on the oval track. 3 is a recurring number throughout this book. 3 Fabergé eggs, 3 suns, 3 boxes mentioned early on, etc. Oval track. This could symbolize a loop or cycle, important when decoding ciphers or following map patterns. A raceway or path, possibly hinting that the treasure trail is circular or repeats itself. In geometry, an oval can also resemble an eye, which echoes the iris motif from Chapter 14. Born at 4.5 pounds. Why mention it? This is an extremely specific and unusual detail for a chapter not otherwise focused on numbers. The half element could be a nod to halfway, incomplete, or something that must be paired or mirrored. Numbness in her left leg. The left side is associated with intuition and feminine energy in mythology and psychology. Athena again? Why these specifics matter in puzzle logic? In a straightforward biography, these kinds of details might be included for emotional resonance. But JCB isn't just writing for sentiment. He's planting seeds. 3 medals could be triangulation or trinity. 4.5 pounds is a decimal or fraction. Age 5 numbness. The number 5 is a repeated number. Wilma's journey to the 1956 Melbourne Olympics includes a stopover in Hawaii, her very first time flying. That detail rings a bell. Remember Chapter 7? Amelia Earhart. She too passed through Hawaii on her flight to cross the Pacific. 2 women, 2 flights, 2 chapters apart, but spiritually connected. Could Hawaii be a geographic breadcrumb or a literary bridge between the sky and the track? Her coach is named Coach Gray, and that name deserves a closer look. In Greek mythology, Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war, is almost always accompanied by a gray owl named Pallas. Athena appears in Marvel Comics too, watching over mortals, offering shelter to heroes and warning of dangers ahead. Could Coach Gray represent a spiritual guide on Wilma's journey? A modern-day Pallas, helping her warrior reach the Olympic battlefield? Maybe gray isn't just a name, but a symbol of wisdom, of neutrality, of strategy. The basketball echo. Wilma plays basketball. JCB plays basketball. In fact, Chapter 9 is a love letter to the court. The oval track is shaped like a basketball court. The ring of the Olympic logo mirrors the rim of a hoop. She was almost 6 feet tall in 10th grade. That's 10 and 6, maybe 106. A coordinate? A cipher key? The game isn't just a game in this book. It's a metaphor for motion, for aiming high, for knowing the rules of the arena. The chapter notes that Cassius Clay changed his name to Muhammad Ali. He threw his Olympic gold medal into the Ohio River after facing racism back home. That story of earning gold but throwing it away is loaded with symbolism. Could the treasure lie in a renamed city or mountain? Could the clues only align once we use the original name? Just as Ali redefined himself, just as Wilma rose from illness, just as places get rewritten, maybe the real map isn't the one in front of us. Maybe it's the one beneath the surface, in the footnotes of history. We're told this Rome 1960 medal is in the treasure, but the image in the book shows a gymnastics medal, not track and field. That discrepancy is no accident. It could be pointing us toward a different athlete entirely, a hidden identity, a mistake that's actually a marker. Again, it's absence that matters, like the Fabergé egg with no yolk, like the fire with no ash, like the medal with the wrong sport. Ali changes his name. Wilma changes her path from basketball to track. Amelia changes the sky. Places change names. Here's why this matters. In treasure hunts, name changes equals map misdirection. If you search for a modern place name, but the clue is rooted in the past, you'll miss it. JCB may be urging us to investigate renamed towns, rebranded peaks, and erased labels. A lot of places and sports teams have changed their name recently. Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali, Mount McKinley to Denali, Big Lick to Roanoke, Gay Head to Aquina. If a place has been rebranded, it may be where the treasure lies, hidden under the new mask. Possibilities. Search toponymic layers. Where has a name changed since 1960? Use historical maps and overlay them with modern ones. Look for cities with rings of history, Olympic ties, and natural ovals, rivers, basins, stadiums, canyons. JCB tells us directly, if you choose to read Wilma's autobiography, that kind of aside is never idle in this book. He rarely says you should go read this, so when he does, it matters. It suggests something is hidden in that book, a parallel timeline, or even a coordinate-based breadcrumb. Several hunters have picked up Wilma's autobiography and said it adds richness to this chapter. It might also hold real-world places tied to Wilma's journey that were renamed. Basketball, height, and the number clue. Wilma is said to be almost 6 feet tall in 10th grade. This adds up to 10 plus 6 equals 16, or 106 as you speculated. The 106th meridian west passes through the western United States, including parts of Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas. Specifically, it runs through cities like Santa Fe, New Mexico. Let's take a beat. We already know JCB played basketball, Chapter 9. The oval track that Wilma runs on is similar in shape to a basketball court. This circular oval symmetry comes back again and again in. So maybe basketball isn't just sport here. It's a symbol of the arena, of movement within the circle, of striving for height. And that brings us to the end of Chapter 15, where gold medals, ovals, name changes, and quiet determination all converge. From Wilma Rudolph's incredible journey to Muhammad Ali's stand for dignity, this chapter isn't just about Olympic triumphs. It's about what happens after the race, after the win, after the name is changed, whether it's a gymnast medal standing in for a runner's or a place on the map hiding behind a new name. Chapter 15 reminds us to keep looking, keep asking, and above all, don't give up. Because the treasure, it may not always be in the box. Sometimes it's in the pattern, in the renaming, in the refusal to quit. So as we move forward in this hunt, into cities that were once called something else, into metals that might not belong, into clues buried in quotes, colors, and curves, remember the finish line isn't always where you think it is. This has been Chapter 15. We'll see you next time, where more secrets wait to be uncovered.